In this video, we will take a look at 17 legendary photographs that pioneered history and have historical value, and we will examine the stories of these photographs. You can support us by subscribing to the channel for the continuation of such content. If you like the content, don't forget to like the video and comment. Enjoy watching. Omaira Sanchez was one of the 25,000 victims of the lava erupted by the Nevado del Ruiz volcano in Colombia in 1985. 13-year-old Sanchez, who was in the water for 3 days, died shortly after this shot was fired. This photograph earned photographer Frank Fournier the Pulitzer Prize. I saw a 10-year-old boy walking silently. She was carrying a baby on her back. It was very common in Japan in those days to see children on their backs staring at their younger siblings, but this boy was clearly different from the others. From the expression on his face, it was clear that he came here for a serious reason. He had no shoes on his feet. His face was hard as a rock. The baby appeared to be sleeping. The child remained standing for about 5 or 10 minutes. Men in white masks walked towards her and silently began to remove the rope holding the baby. Then I saw that the baby was dead. The men held the baby by its hands and feet and placed it on the fire. The boy stood erect and motionless as he watched the flames. He was biting his lips so hard that there was blood on his lower lip. The fire burned slowly like sunset and ended. The boy turned around and walked away silently. Neil Armstrong made history as the first person to set foot on the moon with the Apollo 11 spacecraft on July 20th, 1969. Apollo 11 launched from the Kennedy Space Center and took a journey that took approximately 4 days to reach the moon. Armstrong was the commander of Apollo 11 and gained fame as the first man to land on the surface of the moon. During a nearly 2.5-hour stay on the moon, he famously said, "One small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." He also conveyed a message that went down in history. The Apollo 11 mission achieved a historical success by making humanity's first landing on the moon in space. This photo is Neil Armstrong after the moonwalk. The United States first entered Afghanistan in 2001 as part of Operation Enduring Freedom on October 7, 2001, following the September 11th attacks. This operation was carried out with the aim of overthrowing the Taliban regime and destroying al-Qaeda bases. This intervention marks the date when the USA started its military presence and operations in Afghanistan. In the photo, an Afghan citizen offers tea to an American soldier. The fall of the Berlin Wall took place on November 9, 1989. This date marks the opening of the borders between East and West Germany and the subsequent symbolic demolition of the wall. This event is considered a sign of the end of the Cold War and the reunification of Germany. In this photo, a man is tearing down the Berlin Wall with a sledgehammer in his hand. Nazi Germany's World War II. Regarding the genocide of Jews in concentration camps during World War II, there were a number of death camps, notably Auschwitz-Birkenau, Treblinka, Sobibor, Belzec, and Chelmno. These camps were designed to exterminate the Jewish population as part of a plan the Nazi regime called the Final Solution. John F. Kennedy was assassinated and died in Dallas, Texas, on November 22, 1963, while serving as the 35th President of the United States. Kennedy's assassination took place in Dealey Plaza. While traveling as part of a convoy in Kennedy's open-air automobile, he was shot by a man identified as the assassin, Lee Harvey Oswald. Kennedy was seriously injured in the head as a result of the attack and died at the scene. Lee Harvey Oswald was arrested after the assassination but was killed 2 days later, on November 24, 1963, at the Dallas Police Department building. The investigation to determine Oswald's connection to the assassination is still controversial in some circles and among historians. Many theories and speculations have been put forward regarding the Kennedy assassination, but it is officially accepted that Oswald committed it alone. Kennedy's assassination is considered a major turning point in the history of the United States, and the details of the event are still being carefully studied. Black people in the United States were given the right to vote in 1870 with the passage of the 15th Constitutional Amendment. However, This right was limited for a long time by racist practices and legal obstacles. In 1965, the Voting Rights Act was an important step in protecting black people's right to vote. Elizabeth Eckford was one of 9 black students attending classes at Little Rock Central High School. In this photo, she ignores the insults and shouts directed at her. Nazi Germany refers to the totalitarian regime that ruled in Germany between 1933 and 1945 under the rule of the Nazi Party, led by Adolf Hitler. Nazi Germany, World War II. He transformed Germany by implementing a series of authoritarian policies and racist laws until 1939, when World War II broke out. It is also known for its systematic persecution and genocide against Jews, Roma, disabled people, LGBT people, and other minorities. It marked a dark period in world history by embracing ideologies such as Nazism, anti-Semitism, militarism, and totalitarian rule. The end of Nazi Germany was World War II in 1945. This came with the end of World War II and the suicide of Nazi leader Adolf Hitler. In this photo, the Nazi army passes Nuremberg. September 11, 2001, New York City and Washington, D.C., USA. It is known as the history of terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon and cities. 4 passenger planes were hijacked by Al-Qaeda militants. 2 planes crashed into the north and south towers of the World Trade Center, killing thousands of people. A 3rd plane crashed into the Pentagon, and a 4th plane crashed in Pennsylvania after passenger intervention. These attacks are considered the deadliest terrorist attacks in U.S. history and caused great repercussions around the world. The attacks significantly affected the United States counterterrorism strategy, security policies, and international relations. In March 1993, while on a UN mission in Africa, photographer Kevin Carter captured a photo that sent shockwaves around the world. Carter was photographing famine victims in South Sudan when he came across a starving baby. He was part of a group heading to the child feeding center and collapsed from hunger. A vulture lurked behind him, waiting to hunt the boy. Carter took several photos of the scene before chasing the vulture away. Carter won the Pulitzer Prize for feature photography. However, 3 months after taking this photo, he committed suicide, leaving behind a note saying, "I am very, very sorry. The pain of life overtakes the joy, and the joy disappears. I'm depressed, without a phone, rent money, alimony money, debts, money. I am haunted by vivid memories of murders, corpses, anger and pain. Starving or injured children trigger happy madmen, often policemen, killer executioners." The Titanic sank on April 15, 1912. This famous cruise ship was on a voyage from the English port of Southampton to New York. However, it sank after hitting an iceberg in the Atlantic Ocean. The sinking of the Titanic resulted in the loss of approximately 1,500 lives and is known as one of the greatest maritime disasters in history. This tragic event is associated with a series of problems such as the ship's inadequate security measures, inadequate life-saving equipment, and communication deficiencies. In the photo, the newspaper salesman is announcing the latest news about the ship's accident in front of the office of the company called White Star Line, which owns the Titanic. The photo is from 1912. The photo reveals the poster for Charlie Chaplin's first feature film, The Kid, released in 1921. The film, for which Chaplin was both the screenwriter, producer, director, and leading actor, is considered by critics to be one of the greatest successes of the silent film era. During Adolf Hitler's reign, Germany was struggling with hyperinflation. During this period, $1 US was equivalent to 4.2 trillion marks. This photograph, taken in 1923, shows children playing with Germany's devalued currency. This photo, taken on the set of the movie The Misfits in the summer of 1960, was taken 2 years before the death of the famous actress and is important as it was her last appearance on the movie sets. Marilyn Monroe died on August 5, 1962. The famous American actress and model passed away at the age of 36. His death was recorded as suicide. Monroe's death is considered a great tragedy in Hollywood history and is still the subject of much speculation and debate. Photographer, Charles O'Air. Maybe we know this photo the most. The image is used as the default wallpaper for the theme in Windows XP. The photo is thought to have been taken around California.
Lighthouse of Science.